Okay, so it looks like President Biden had his first interview in a long time, and he was asked whether or not he should have dropped out of the 2024 race sooner. And also, there's a full-on meltdown by Democrat Gregory Meeks after Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent trolls him over Joe Biden's poor mental state. So I think it's only fair that we do pull up this video here from Case Study QB. Be sure to follow Case Study QB. He's been doing a lot of great work. So follow him on all of his social media. 10 out of 10, but hang on. Here we go.
Should you have withdrawn earlier, given someone else a bigger chance?
I don't think it would have mattered. Things moved so quickly that it made it difficult to walk away, and it was a hard decision.
So I think your earpiece wasn't working. So he's asked, should you have been withdrawn earlier, given someone else a bigger job? And Biden says, I don't think it would have mattered. Things moved so quickly that made it difficult to walk away and it was a hard decision. So he's saying it was a hard decision to withdraw. I have talked to a lot of Democrats. I have this book coming out in a week and 6 days, who think not only should he have gotten out immediately after the debate, so June 28th, but he should never run for re-election to begin with. Okay. What do you think?
I think it was the president's decision to make, Joe Biden, and he made his decision.
Yeah.
I think we're at a critical inflection point within the Democratic Party. We can either continue to look backwards and allow this.
All right, so we're going to pause here for a second. We're going to pause for one quick second here. Let me get this straight. So you're telling me right now, with everything that was before us, especially with Joe Biden, especially with the Democrats, especially with how he was stuttering and stammering and not mentally fit, no one bothered to pull him aside, or no one in the DNC establishment decided to say, like, hey, this guy's done. He needs to be a one-term president. I mean, did anyone decide to pull the brakes? Or unless this was all on purpose, which I've been hearing a lot of good arguments about, that maybe the Democrats wanted to lose so they could have a whole clean slate of a new roster of people. Because after all, the billionaires like to play their games while they're living in their fancy underground cities, which, by the way, thank you everybody for watching that video. Right now, it's getting a couple of good views on it. Yes, underground cities all around. I wonder if Joe Biden has an apartment building underground, probably in a padded cell with ice cream all the time.
This issue to paralyze us as a party, or we can move forward and decide we need to take full advantage of this opportunity, unprecedented opportunity that Donald Trump has presented the party to build a broader coalition, to draw a distinction with the way we would govern versus the way that he would govern, to cast a wider net and bring more voters to the table. I mean, you've got a situation where Donald Trump's underwater on every issue. So, the other thing I think is very interesting, Jake, I love you and appreciate you, but the former president talked about some really important things in that interview. And I hate for the conversation to stay mired in sort of a page 6 conversation about who said what, did what, versus what he really talked about, the substance of what he talked about in that interview, the consequences for what Donald Trump's foreign policy means for the American people. I mean, we're in a situation now where the world is more dangerous than it was before he was president.
He was talking a lot about foreign policy. He was talking about the NATO alliance. He was talking, it
was an incredibly
that was the newest thing. That was the new, yes, it was substantive.
Yeah.
It was also stuff we've been hearing from him for the last 20 years.
And a little bit of I made my decision when I made it,
Yes, but I do recall him saying that he was going to be a one-term president. Democrats, yes, I know it would have been shocking if Joe Biden would have been a one-term president, but it would have been a safe bet just to have him be a one-term president than have the absolute clown show that we saw in 2024. It was content gold for us. We loved every minute of it. How about you, Democrats? Did you like every minute of it, being embarrassed? Unless that's the kind of thing you're into.
Kind of a dynamic.
Brian, I think you and I agree that the Democratic Party needs to have some sort of reckoning about the Biden presidency, especially the last year and a half of it.
The answer is they need to do it for themselves, because if they don't, we're going to define it. At the end of the day, we're going to highlight the fact that this fraud took place, that, Joe Biden, it's funny, he says in the comment that the world moves too fast. Well, when you're moving at Joe Biden's pace, a snail is fast, right? And when he says, walking fast, he's not walking fast. I mean, people have, if they don't cure this issue for themselves, and it is a trust issue, Trump gets away with a lot. I don't think the Democrats get away with that much. But if they don't cure this issue, we're going to bring it up, and we're going to continue to highlight, we're going to continue to highlight that with real national security concerns, with real effects that affect real people, some guy who's supposed to be in the Oval Office doing the job was incapable of it, and staff propped it up. That's a problem. We
Okay.
should be investigating.
Okay,
We should be
Ashley,
doing
Ashley, last word.
The only thing I would say is I don't disagree with you. I made an argument on Politico's podcast just last week that we need an autopsy from the party. We have yet to get that autopsy. I think this has to be part of what they deliver to the Democratic Party and to the nation, explaining what happened and what consequences.
I got that autopsy coming for you in 1 week. 1 week and 6 days.
Can't wait to read it.
Ashley and Brian, thanks to both of you.
Oh, wow. Gotta love that. But see, the meltdown, though, in the aftermath of the Democrats, especially when they are trying to put on this fantastic face of, oh, everything was fine. Well, no, Joe Biden, he was not fine. He was not 100. He was an absolute clown show. He should have dropped out. I mean, look, what would have helped the Democrats? There's a 50-50 chance that should they have nipped that in the bud right away and Joe Biden was just going to be a one-term president, he would not be on the campaign trail. He wouldn't be embarrassing himself, and he wouldn't have embarrassed himself in front of the country as he had a full-on, senile moment while debating Trump. Well, it was happening during the whole time. I mean, anybody who watched that debate will not look you. If they actually really say that Biden did a good performance, they'll look down at the ground while they're saying it. They won't look you in the eye. But see, even then, it still remains of the overall embarrassment that Democrats have to carry on to, even to this day. And this is a perfect freeze frame of one Democrat in particular who is upset at the current. Hold on, let me make sure I get their proper rank and title right, because sometimes my brain doesn't work right. Even I'm having secondhand dementia. To the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. So let's go ahead and play this video here. Let's go ahead and play this video and see a full-on meltdown.
4 decades. We've had trade deficits in the United States of America, and nobody said it was an emergency? Democratic and Republican presidents? You know what that says to me? That it's not an emergency because it hasn't been for 4 decades. It says to me that we should bring tariffs back to the United States Congress so that we can make that determination as the Constitution has said, and not try to go around Congress. That's just unbelievable to me. Let me ask this question. Maybe they missed it. Who was the president, and who has been the president since January 20th, 2025?
Donald J. Trump.
Okay. And who was the president in 2024?
One believes President Biden.
One believes?
One believes President Joe Biden. I wanted to pause there. That's pure gold. Because was Joe Biden really running the show? I mean, an automatic pen. You had members of his administration having to make scheduled different days of when Joe Biden was able to speak because he had good days and bad days. Think about it. You're the commander-in-chief, and you need to be on point 24/7. And let's say, I don't know, you got the Secretary of Defense. Hey, President Biden, we got a little trouble in this region. Oh, he's right now taking his nap. One believes. Who was running the show? Was it Kamala? I'm pressing X of doubt on that one. Was it Jill Biden? Was it somebody else? Was it his handlers? Who was running the whole show? If we look back at Joe Biden's even mental and physical health, and nothing against him and nothing against us, but look, he was even on a CPAP machine. Okay. For those of you who know what a CPAP machine is, it's one of those respirator machines that helps you breathe while you're sleeping. It impacts those of poor health or who don't have, proper oxygen getting into their lungs when they're going to sleep. So in turn, they have a lot of health problems or not getting a full night's sleep, can cause a lot of heart stress, and also can even lead to potential brain damage too. Joe Biden was on that. He needed that to sleep so that he wouldn't choke or snore real loud. If you ever get a chance, Google up CPAP machines and you'll see that, the President of the United States was on that. And the way he looks, the way he walks, he's always looking tired and slow. Maybe he never was getting a full night's sleep, which is why he always had bad days.
One believes President Biden.
One believes? You one of those non-believers that the election, the American people didn't vote?
I am not.
You're not? You said one believes? Do you believe in the Constitution of the United States and it should be
I
abided by?
believe in the Constitution of the United States.
So you believe in it without any second thought. You don't have to think about it. You believe in it and you would abide by it. Is that correct?
I have and I do, sir.
Okay. Well, do you know that a president has said he may or may not? He don't know? Let me ask this question. I couldn't believe my.
Now, I want to. Oh, again, I find the meltdowns to be always hilarious and to be pure gold. But what I want to point out here, what I want to address is the meltdowns. It's hilarious, but it's a distraction too. Because remember, a big distraction is happening here. A big distraction. And I've been looking all over, and I think we've all been looking all over for this too. You know, what's really being hidden from the American people? I mean, are we ever going to find out really about how we've been lied to or where our money is going? Are we ever going to find out what happened to those files of JFK, RFK, MLK? Are we ever going to get the real files of the Jeffrey E. files? Are we ever going to get all that released? And then, of course, you know, something I want to bring up here. Just something I want to bring up here. Something that I just want to bring up here because there's a distraction. And I'm so glad that my audience is on point. And I want to give a huge shout out to Bad Cookies. Why do you think I selected your chat, buddy? Because it's crazy how everyone just forgot about the Fort Knox audit. Where's the gold? Where's the gold? This was from a month ago. Musk and Trump keep fanning the flames of Fort Knox gold conspiracy theory. Like, seriously, where's the gold at? We're ever going to get that audit? We're ever going to get those Jeffrey E. files? We're ever going to get those full transparent JFK, RFK, MLK files? The answer is probably not. Probably not indeed. And that's a depressing point of all of this. We're not going to get the files. We're not going to get any true transparency. The conspiracy theory alleging without evidence that someone might have stolen the gold reserves from Fort Knox, Kentucky has circulated for decades, but it seems to have first appeared on the Trump administration radar after far-right financial blog Zero Hedge tagged Musk in a post about the idea on X. Since then, Musk and Trump have shared the idea and teased plans for a personal inspection of the fortress that holds the government's gold bars. Despite raising the alarm and feeling conspiracy chatter online and offline, there's no evidence that any gold is missing, and there's no indication that Musk or Trump has taken any concrete steps towards visiting Fort Knox. A White House spokesperson declined to comment on their plans, saying in an email, no announcements at this time. No announcements at this time. No announcements. And yet, here's Joe Biden right there, wheeled before us with his words of wisdom. Oh, hey, everyone, don't mind me. I'm here to tell you, yes, it was my choice to make. It's all a distraction. Look, we all know that Joe Biden wasn't mentally fit to run, but why interview a president who's not all there? I mean, what more can we learn from him that we haven't learned in the past 4 years, except that his administration was pro-censorship, silence and suppress people, and dismiss people? It's abundantly clear. The media is trying to do a blurring effect, making you forget and not question anything that has been brought up. And legitimately, hey, the American people deserve an answer. How do you feel? Do you want answers to these major stories that still haven't been covered or resolved yet? Now, maybe there's a process. And as we all know, the process is the punishment. But nonetheless, here we are. Here we are indeed.